I'm okay. Yeah, we had a nice time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thanks. Fine. I hope you too.
Yes. Marta is connecting now, so she'll be there very soon. So you prefer that we change the slides or that you do them yourselves?
Yeah, if it is possible, I would do it myself.
Mhm.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Should we have a try on that?
Yeah, sure. If you wanna try to share your screen.
Yeah, should be no problem. So now it is in full screen and
Yeah.
working, huh?
And presentation
Next
mode,
slide.
indeed. Yes.
Everything okay? Okay.
Indeed.
Yeah, then I think it's more efficient to do it this way because there are a lot of slides and hopefully I can keep time, but yeah, let's see.
Thank you very much.
So we are only two today, Christian Holter and I. Yeah.
Yes, because in the end, we were while we were organizing this session, then we realized that having such a focus on heat pumps, maybe it would have been better, let's say, for the sake of completeness and organization, to organize like a second session, like 2.2 on heat pumps as a case study,
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah, it's okay for me, of course.
Would you like to take part in this session 2.2 as well? So we can send you the invite.
Exactly.
Yeah, why not? When is this going to be? And
it would be so we have to decide between two dates. It's either the 30th of November or the 24th of the 21st of December. But I think we will go for the 30th of November.
Yeah, would be possible. Yeah, please forward the appointment to me, and I will have a look if it is possible. But would be
Definitely.
interesting, of course, also for us because we are also dealing more and more with heat pumps. Yeah, maybe as you saw, I have also something in my presentation about absorption heat pumps because this is getting more and more a topic for biomass plants also. Yeah, but it's always interesting to hear from others as well, of course.
All right, then we will send you the invitation.
Yeah, thanks. Okay.
So.
Ich habe am Sonntag zu Hause vorgefunden eine Unterlage von Herrn Trecconi, der hat gesagt, ich bin einverstanden. Und ich habe ewig telefoniert noch mit dem Herrn Hemmerle, der noch sehr basic...
Hallo Christian, wir können dich schon hören. Ja.
Upsi.
So, sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning. Too many things happening around. It was the cell phone was put on silent mode, but nevertheless, if it sits in front of you and starts ringing, sometimes you cannot ignore it.
I know, indeed. I received your presentation. Thank you very much. I downloaded it, and we wanted to ask you: do you feel more comfortable with us sharing your presentation, so the screen, or would you prefer to share it?
I can do it from my side. I think that's easier with all the presentation and with clicking through it. So if you don't mind.
No.
I mean, normally I do it myself.
All right. It's really your call as you feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
Great. Then, do you want to try to share it to see if it works and everything, just in case we have it anyway?
Should see it.
Yes. Yes.
I'm back. Luckily, all of us are trained with these medias today.
Indeed. But many times it's out of our control. I had to moderate a webinar, and the Wi-Fi in the office stopped working at that point, and it never happens. And it was exactly during the webinar that I was moderating, of course.
Yeah, true.
So, sorry, Clemens, go ahead.
No, we're still waiting for our moderator to join, and then we'll be able to start inviting the participants, just so you know.
In the meantime, if you don't mind, I will leave you for a couple of minutes and go grab my bottle of water.
Yes,
I'm
please.
sorry. I'll be right back. Good morning, Ricardo.
Good morning. Ciao.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
So, Ricardo, we have already tried the settings of the call. So if you want, you can just try to share your screen with the slides just to see if it works.
Just
or,
one moment.
Or if you prefer, we can share your slides.
No,
Christian.
that's okay.
All right.
It should be okay. Now you should see the slides, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, then I stop and then I share it again. Just let me check within.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Ciao,
morning.
Chiara.
Nice
Good
to
morning.
meet you again.
Maya is here. Hi, Maya.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good
Marta,
morning.
will you record the session? It's already in.
It's
Okay,
already recording. Yes.
perfect. Okay,
It starts recording automatically.
okay. Martina is
Hi.
here. Hi, Martina.
Hi, Ricardo. Hi, guys.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Martina.
Hi.
We just wait some more minutes. I see that still some partners are missing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ape Friuli, Dominic, Leida. Okay, maybe.
Manuela. Hi, Manuela. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi.
Hi. Okay.
Good morning.
Hi, Gabriel. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we just miss, I think, Isma is here also. Hi, Isma.
Hi, Esma.
So we miss,
Hello, good morning.
I think, Euro Heat and Power. And then
Oeste.
Oeste. And I don't know, maybe Manuela, someone else will join from Ape Friuli Venezia Giulia.
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
think so.
Also Ina is here. Hi, Ina. Good morning.
Hi.
Okay. Just wait 3 more minutes. Let's say at 9:05 we start.
Todor is at one training, Ricardo. That's why he's missing.
Sorry?
Todor is at one training
Yes, he told
on
me.
site at one university. That's why he's missing.
Yeah, he told me about that. No problem.
Very sorry to sorry him for his absence.
Hi, Pilar. Good morning.
Good morning, Ricardo.
Morning, Pilar.
Morning.
Ciao, Francesco. Good morning.
I guess we should start.
Yes, okay.
And they will probably join during the intro.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Okay, so welcome everybody. I think there's no better start of the week than with the Train the Trainer session.
You are not in presentation mode, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I try to. Okay.
Ah, voilà. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so just some very short information on the technical stuff, let's say. So if you have questions during the presentation, please raise your hand so that we put you in the kind of speaking list, let's say. You please mute your microphones when you're not speaking so that we don't have background noise. Of course, you can put your camera on if your connection is okay, if it's stable. You can also ask questions in the chat if you have questions while the speaker is presenting, let's say. And then when we have the Q&A session, we can, of course, ask all the questions to the speaker. This meeting is being recorded and will be made available on the project website because, as you know, one of the goals of the ConnectHeat project is also, of course, spread as much as possible the knowledge about heating communities and all, let's say, the characteristics of this topic. Just a very short summary, maybe also for the speakers who are not familiar with this. We have a quite ambitious, I would say, capacity building program within our ConnectHeat project, and it's basically organized in 3 levels. So one is this one. So the Train the Trainer sessions, which are aiming at transferring know-how to project partners. So we will have basically 5 Train the Trainer session plus 1 special session, I would say, which will be organized in the form of a guided tour to a community heating project. Then, on the basis of this, our local pilot areas, which are 7 pilot areas in 7 different European countries, will carry out 4 different local training sessions. Of course, with the final objective of initiating heating and cooling community energy initiatives. And then, of course, we will have also a 3rd level, which is the European one, so the wider one. We will have 3 online training sessions for sharing, especially for sharing experience and knowledge about our pilot cases. So this will be another phase, more advanced phase of the project when our pilot case will be more developed, let's say. And all of the training materials which will be developed within the project will be made available in a specific section of our project website, which is called the Training Toolbox. So this is the summary of our, let's say, plan of our program for the trainer session. We will have these 6 sessions, and today we are at number 2. So we already had this first session in September about local communities and stakeholder engagement, and now we go more towards the technological topic, let's say. So we decided to split this technological framework into 2 parts, for having more time on the one hand and for better organizing, let's say, the speakers for the part of the heat pumps, which is a bit more complicated. So today we will We will stay in Austria with 2 speakers from Austria. By the way, thanks a lot for accepting to be speakers today, and with 2 Christians, by the way. So it's very focused, let's say. So we will have a Christian Rammersdorfer from AEE Intec, which will guide us through the topic of biomass and how this can be used for heating and cooling systems. And then after a short QA session about Christian's presentation, we will move to the second Christian, let's say, Christian Olter from the Austrian company Solid, which will talk about the solar heat and cooling, let's say, so solar thermal plants for providing both heating and cooling. Then we will have again the possibility of having a QA, and then we will do a short wrap up and conclusion. Okay, I don't know, Clemence, if I forgot something crucial, let's say. If not, okay. So if not, let me thanks once again Fedarene, which is the main partner, especially, of course, Marta and Clemence, and also Matthias, who is not here today, but they are really the, let's say, guiding force within the project for this the trainers program, and of course all the partners for joining also today. Okay, if we don't have any other point on that, I would stop sharing my screen and I would give immediately the floor to the first Austrian speaker, so to Christian Rammersdorfer. Christian, if you want to share your screen. You have
Yes,
let's say 25 minutes, if it's okay
right.
for you.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah,
perfect.
okay. So thank you very much for the nice introduction. Yeah, a lot of well-known faces in this round. I hope I can tell you something new. Maybe also, yeah, freshening up some basics on this topic. I am scientific researcher here at AEE Intec in the working group Cities and Networks, and also head of the program Klimaaktiv Heizwerke und Wärmenetze. I will come to that in a second. Yeah, what is the content of my presentation today? So a short excursion to QM for biomass DH plants that I want to do with you, because this quality management system is giving a lot of good advice for biomass utilization. Yeah, then some few important basics about biomass combustion, how to design and deal with biomass in district heating systems. Yeah, short look on a few feasibility aspects also, and I would like to close then with yeah, short look also on absorption heat pumps, which really offer yeah, interesting applications. So as said, this short excursion to QM. What is this? We have in Austria QM Heizwerke, it is called. This is an Austrian-wide quality management for district heating plants under the umbrella of an international working group, which is called QM Holzheizwerke, or in English QM for biomass DH plants, which is dealing with biomass heating plants and district heating networks, and was yeah, built because, or yeah, designed because biomass heating plants are infrastructure projects with very high initial investment, and planning has a major influence on the success of such a project. And there were some mistakes done in the past, and QM tries to yeah, ensure resource efficiency and sustainability, and not last but not least, efficient use of public funding also, if public money is going into such projects. So who invented this? It was initially made in Switzerland since 1998. Then since 2005, it is also in Austria and Germany done. in Austria, as I already said, by this Klimaaktiv program, Heizwerke und Wärmenetze. Since 2016, it is managed by our institute. And also one success of this Interreg Central Europe project N-Train you see here is participation of Italy also since 2020 in this international working group. And what is very important is that there's a series of publication from this working group with a reliable and really comprehensive and profound information source on biomass utilization. So these things can be downloaded for free on the website you see here. And we're also translated from German within this N-Train project into other languages, of course, also English. So most important literature within this publication series, I also will refer to that a lot in the presentation afterwards, is the QM Planning Handbook, which is now available in a third completely revised edition from 2022, so really new. And for the district heating network itself, there's also a handbook on planning of district heating networks from Verenum in Switzerland. So also from this planning handbook, there's often referred to that. And more on this technical side, when it comes to hydraulics and control, there's also the standard hydraulic schemes or standard hydraulic solutions, which is another document dealing with that topic. So yeah, I will come to the planning handbook a lot in the presentation afterwards. So enough about that for now. What are some basics about biomass? If we want to combust biomass for producing heat, it is very important to consider that biomass fuels have a considerable water content and also ash content. So what you see here is the net calorific value independence on the water content, strongly decreasing with increasing water content. And this, of course, at the same time has a high influence on the achievable combustion efficiency. So if there are no additional measures taken to recover heat from the evaporation of the water content during combustion, combustion efficiency will suffer, of course. What is also important to consider is sometimes instead of the water content, the moisture content is given, which is then considerable different values. So water content is on wet base, moisture content is on dry base. So be careful what of these two values is really given. Yeah. Another very important thing is that the combustion system or the firing system has always to match the biomass type or also quality of biomass that should be used. So different types of biomass need different types of firing systems. A very commonly used system are these feed grade systems here for medium to large scale applications for district heating, for instance. You can see a basic principle scheme of a firing and boiler of such a system here. Yeah, for smaller systems like in pellet boilers, often these underfeed firings are used. Yeah, more on that topic you can find in the QM Planning Handbook, chapter 4 and 5. So please refer to that for more information in detail. What I want to refer to now is if we compare such systems for decentralized boilers or district heating in terms of the annual efficiency that can be reached, so the useful heat output during a whole year compared to the biomass energy input, then you see that for these decentralized boilers, for instance, such a pellet boiler in a single family home, we can estimate an annual efficiency in the range of 85%. Whereas for district heating systems, there's not only this boiler system, but also the district heating network, of course, and this plus in efficiency turns out to be a multiplication. So if we have 85% of annual efficiency of the biomass boiler and 90% for the district heating network, this would be target values according to the QM system also, then we see that the overall annual efficiency of such district heating system is 76.5, so considerably lower than decentralized boilers. Of course, for a boiler that has no flue gas condensation, but yeah, in the first step, one could ask, why should we do district heating then? There are reasons, of course. One argument is often customer convenience, so low space requirement, for example, and carefree at the customers. But of course, there are also very important other arguments to do that. So flexibility and resilience as a topic here. Yeah, very important. It enables waste heat utilization. So in a large scale, also waste heat utilization for single family homes and so on, which cannot be done with another technology than district heating. It also enables to integrate other renewable energy sources like solar thermal, geothermal. Yeah, about solar thermal, we will hear for sure something also in the next presentation then. And especially for biomass, there are a lot of advantages by doing this via district heating system. First of all, it's enables to have it locally emission free at the customers. So only emissions at the central heating plant, and there then also with monitored emissions. Then it is possible to have reduced start-stop and low-load operation of the boiler due to a better distribution of the heat demand in the network. So simultaneity of the heat demand. Yeah, then effective flue gas cleaning is applicable. So for instance, electrostatic precipitator, as you see it in the picture here. Yeah, and also it enables to integrate the flue gas condensation or even an active flue gas condensation. I will come to back to that later, which enables to have the potential for a higher overall efficiency than these decentralized boilers. Finally, so yeah, a lot of arguments to do it via district heating, but of course there are special needs for such systems. So biomass heating plants are very complex systems. So not only heat pumps, I would say, are complex, but also biomass heating plants are rather complex. And they have biomass boilers also very different needs than, for instance, natural gas or oil boilers. So there's a considerably increased space demand for all the additional components needed. Especially also for fuel handling and storage, the firing in the boiler itself, the ashing system, and so on. So one has to consider that. Then also an increased complexity of hydraulics and control, and also for the safety equipment needed. So there has to be a boiler return temperature protection. Control of the firing and boiler is yeah, maybe more challenging than for natural gas boiler. You have to think about how to control the boiler. QM says here, according to the charging state of the heat storage tank. So these are topics shown in this hydraulic solutions. Yeah. things like thermal discharge, safety devices, and so on. So all in all, of course, all these increased demands also lead to considerable higher investment then. But yeah, regarding feasibility later on. So how does this look like? A basic biomass plant configuration you can see here. You have this fuel storage, a push floor in this case, which is, yeah, as you see from the space requirements and conditions here, really different from a fossil fuel based plant. So then there's the firing and the heat exchanger or boiler itself. Most commonly we talk about the boiler for this whole unit. So firing and heat exchanger is the boiler. Then there's also a first step of flue gas cleaning already included in this boiler. Yeah, it's really standard to have this multi-cyclone in there. Maybe a second step, electrostatic precipitator or backhouse filter for flue gas cleaning, the chimney. Yeah, all this ash conveying container system, control cabinets, of course. Also a heat storage, which is always recommended by QM to have that in combination with the biomass boiler. And a lot of components also that are not shown here, so like hydraulics, pumps, fans, and so on. So you see, it's really, yeah, complex and more needed than for natural gas boilers, for instance. So if you want to design that, I try to sum up some principles according to this quality management system that should ensure low emission and which is at the same time then also efficient operation and also feasible operation if you follow these principles. So QM says most important is to have a matching firing technology to the fuel quality, as already said, and a really profound planning basis for design. So you have to be sure that to know what is the actual situation of the total heat demand or heat output demand, and to design the whole plant to these needs. Yeah, so to have a very clear picture on the overall concept, how should the plant and the boiler be dimensioned, hydraulics and control also viewed as one unit. You cannot design a control system without knowing the hydraulics and vice versa. So it's very important. And yeah, as I already said, a heat storage tank is really recommended. There are also some target values here, some very basic what should be reached. So goal is the target is to reach a high utilization of the biomass boiler or boilers if there are more of them in the system of about 2,000 to 4,000 hours of full load operating hours per year, depending on the plant configuration. Then an annual efficiency of the biomass boiler of at least 85% and maximum network losses of 10%. These were the values shown before with this efficiency comparison. Then, yeah, a good plant documentation and operational data collection is very important. Also, visualization of the data, and this is also enabling to do yeah, to analyze optimization potential and have a ongoing operational optimization. So all this together then leads to low investment costs. Very important is to have no over-dimensioning of the boiler. So biomass boilers should continuously follow the average load at the lowest possible power output. Yeah, and in all load conditions, low exhaust gas temperature, low excess air for combustion, and a good burnout. So this is some of these basic principles. A lot of criteria in detail is given then in the planning handbook. One point that I would like to point out here is this low load condition, which is saying that the boiler should not or the boiler output should not get lower than a certain percentage according to this table here, independence of the grade or the firings type used and the water content of the fuel, which represents the fuel quality. So for instance, for a combination with firebed maintenance and water content of 35 to 50%, it should not go below 20% of the nominal boiler output in order to prevent stop and go and amber bait maintenance operation with connected with high emissions. So there's a very important criteria you have to consider for boiler design. There's a lot of more criteria given in this planning handbook. I will not go into detail more. Just here two tables in according to the system setup, as I said, with the full load operating hours that should be reached. So for a single biomass boiler with one peak load boiler on fossil fuels and the storage tanks, you can see here more than 3,500 hours, or target would be even 4,000 hours per year. So this is really a rather high value. So how to design this? It's very important to have a reliable databases to do that, and to have a clear picture how the load profile over a year looks like. So in this example here, you can see this red line showing the daily mean values of district heating network heat demand over 1 year, and then how all this heat supply technologies work together. So there are two biomass boilers in this example, also a solar thermal plant and a natural gas peak load boiler. And as you can see here, there are these two biomass boilers with this nominal load output indicated here that are designed in the, with equal nominal heat output. Could also be done in another way, but you have to think when to use boiler 1 and when to use boiler 1 and 2. So in winter, both of them. In transition period, only biomass boiler 1. In summertime, coverage by solar thermal. And then in this example, of course, and then you have to think about where is this minimum or low load condition occurring. So of course in transition period for this biomass boiler 1 here, so is this fulfilled that boiler 1 doesn't have to operate below this limit? And maybe also here when both boilers are operated and load is still rather low beginning of the winter time, if both boilers of them, when they, for instance, here share the same load, is it still fulfilled for both of the boilers? Yeah, I think that's the most important thing here. If it comes to feasibility, yeah.
Christian, sorry, you have 3 minutes left.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I'll try to get the main points through to the end. So a short look only on investment issues. So there is also an indication of investment costs for the heat generation system in the planning handbook, but be careful with that. Local framework conditions have to be considered, local prices, inflation, and so on. So what you see here are two boundaries for an upper and lower investment costs for heating system or the biomass plant. And what you also can see is that, for instance, between Austria and Switzerland, there's already a big difference, a factor of 2, just to prices and local framework conditions. Yeah, and then of course consider that the costs are total annual costs, so not only capital but also fuel and energy is a very important part for biomass plants. So as you see from these examples here, more than half for some variants here is fuel costs than at the annual costs. So not all is investment alone regarding feasibility. So very short on that, and a final point on flue gas condensation and also cooling, because this was also a part of the topic today. So I will go very fast over that. So there are 2 options to have flue gas condensation, one directly with the return flow from the district heating network, which is called passive flue gas condensation, and then an option to integrate also heat pumps, such absorption heat pumps like shown here. And these absorption heat pumps really offer interesting options. So they are thermally driven. So with a part of the boiler output from the biomass boiler, a heat pump is then operated that produces cold water, let's say, and then heat output on the supply side. So, and with this cold water, you can do either flue gas condensation, as in this example here, there would be an absorption heat pump, then then instead of this compression heat pump in here, doing a second step of flue gas condensation or flue gas condensation at all. So with the potential to have this really higher efficiency than decentralized system, as mentioned in the beginning. But these heat pumps also enable to do cooling from biomass. So you drive a heat pump with heat from biomass that is then producing cold water for cooling. And of course, in terms of efficiency, it would be again best if this could be done combined. So combined heating and cooling would be really an interesting option from biomass, because then you have 2 useful outputs, let's say the cold water for cooling and the heating to the district heating network. So yeah, very short about that. So that's already all I want to give you in this short time on the way. I think I have mentioned all of that. One time again, a reference to this QM planning handbook, which is really a comprehensive and reliable information source. And one last thing on behalf. So our institute is also organizing a conference in April next year again. So the International Sustainable Energy Conference. Call for abstracts is still open until 31st of October. So you are very, very welcome to participate in this conference in Graz or online and contribute to it. So thank you for your attention, and I'm open for questions.
Thanks a lot, Christian. I would immediately ask you a question, which was included by Clemence in the chat, and it's exactly about the QM handbook. So what is the level of, let's say, of privacy of this manual? So in particular, can it be made available, for example, for ConnectHeat partners, or what is available, let's say, regarding the QM system as material?
yeah, since this, let's say, step of translation, all the literature from the working group is for free. So you can download that on the international webpage of QM Holzheitswerke. So yeah, and it's free to share it with everyone, of course.
And as you said before, also in the in-train project, we also translated it into the national languages which were participating, let's say, in this project. And in particular, for example, in Italy, we already have all the material. So if any of the partners is interested in going deeper, of course, you can go to the international website, which is, I guess, exactly this last one. And but of course, if you need some national translation, let's say, please ask Christian, or also you can ask Chiara and me, and we will tell you about the material. Okay.
I hope that soon there can everything be found also in these other languages that translations were made. There's only some revision of this webpage going on at the time, so but yeah, everything should be available already now as well. So there are zip files for the different languages, and then you get at least at the time it's like that. Then you get the whole package that was translated, let's say, of documents and tools, free for download. So.
Okay, thanks again. Questions to Christian? We have some time, definitely, for the questions, so please ask, don't be shy.
Too much in a short time, maybe.
But it's very interesting, I think, also for the project partners. Matthias, I think you raise your hand, please.
Yes, thanks a lot for the contributions. My question would be, do you have any hints or tips how a community could basically be supported with the planning guidelines and manuals that you have developed? So if we're talking about community energy solutions, there's not only one planner. So if we have one planner, one end user, basically, I think it's more streamlined and easy to develop this biomass district heating plants. But if you have to work with a kind of energy community already in the beginning, are there some tips or hints or experiences you would like to share in this respect? So if it's not only one end user, but a group of end users or potential end users already.
Yeah, we are also working on that topic, but it's a bit tricky when it comes to biomass district heating systems because, I mean, from my point of view, it's not really possible to design such a system without a really experienced and planner. So yeah. Groups of people thinking about the topic is of course very welcome, but they really have to look for like profound advice on that. So if they want to build up a district heating system, then there has to be a planner involved that knows about that. And the question where to or how far to go with district heating and when it is better to go to these decentralized systems is another thing on its own. So this is also something for spatial energy planning, a topic that we are also into in our working group, and not so easy to really establish that in a how should I say, in the communities and also on municipality level to really get a clear picture where should we do district heating, where not, which kind of renewable energy sources and heat supply technologies are available and make sense where. So but there are some additional informations about that also in the planning handbook and also from N-Train, from the N-Train project. So there were some also trainer presentations done on this theme about heat planning for communities. So yeah, maybe it's worth to have a look into that also.
Thanks a lot. As I don't see any other raised hands, I will ask a follow-up question if I may. And so I got the point. It's very valuable to have a real technical planner and someone who is driving the project itself in between basically the development process and on the other hand, the end users. But if we have this end user community more or less identified, and if they are driving and are also part of this development, do you think this helps to already know who would potentially use or who would, and to have basically also a higher rate of connected households in the end, or connected end users in the end within the district heating grid? Do you think this helps, and to know a little bit more about their consumption patterns?
Yeah, yes, of course. I mean, this is very important to know the heat demand in an area before starting up such a project. So this is really a core message of QM also. So in the beginning of such a project, you have to carefully determine the actual situation on how the heat demand looks like, who wants to connect, and usually, yeah, this is also a first step by the planners or operators done then to have a survey on who would like to connect in maybe in a first step to such a network, to be clear on how the plant should be designed or in which size also. And we now, for instance, for Austria, we have the situation that a lot of systems are already built, and you have to think about extensions. So then again, and maybe if you have the possibility to design it from scratch from the beginning, you already also have to think about such expansion steps. So will your plant fit in 5 or 10 years to this next step, or is there room for expansion and so on? So yeah, planning is really a very important step in the whole project because it determines the overall feasibility in the end. And knowing this heat demand and potential customers or also the area where to go is very important, of course.
Christian, maybe a comment on that, which is also kind of a question, let's say. But as far as I remember, in Austria, you have examples of such, let's say, structure, which was asked by Matthias. So, for example, district heating cooperatives. So basically, heating community experience, let's say, which then referred to expert actors, let's say, for example, for designing and running the system. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. I mean, there are a lot of business models possible. And one very common in Austria also is that, for instance, some farmers do an association for usage of their product wood chips, let's say, in district heating systems. And of course, in most cases, the operators of such systems have professional planners who support them, and also from QM Heizwerke or from this quality management system, there's always a Q manager, a quality manager, who accompanies the whole project throughout, from the beginning in best case to operation then. So as a second expert to give advice and have a independent view on the project, let's say it like that. So so actually with this QM, we have two professionals supporting the operator then.
Okay, that's very important. Elder, I see
Yes.
you raise your hand, please.
Yes, just a short question. Do you have studies, comparative studies between decentralized total costs of decentralized district heating and centralized district heating on the point of view of the consumers? You mean what the total cost for the users of the systems, if their advantages or disadvantage in the decentralized heating? You understand?
Yeah. Not at hand at the moment, I have to say, but of course this topic is getting more and more important. Yeah, especially with this price fluctuations in the last years, of course. And I think we didn't see the end still of where it will go. So it's really hard to estimate where biomass prices will end up, or yeah, how this will continue to develop in the next time. Yeah, but I mean and this is also a bit difficult again, because it's so much dependent on the local conditions. So even if we have that for Austria, for instance, a comparison between district heating and decentralized systems in that regard, then it is totally different maybe for other countries. So yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Really
so more
sorry,
question mark than an answer.
Yes, I think we can now go on. We are on time. So maybe we can leave some other questions for the final part. So thanks again, Christian, for your presentation. Before moving to the second speaker, I would also to say hello to Talia from CINEA, so from the Commission Energy Executive Agency, sorry. You know that CINEA expressed interest, of course, for our Train the Trainers, and so Anna, our project advisor, asked me if they could join. A couple of them could join some of the training sessions. So welcome, Talia. Today, Anna couldn't join. But I think it's very interesting that also CINEA wants to join our Train the Trainer session. Okay, so I would immediately move to Christian Olter from the company Solid. So we move, let's say, from different form of heat to a different form of heat. So from the combustion to some kind of nuclear reaction, I would say, but don't worry, quite far away, I would say. Christian, please, the floor is yours. You have also 25 minutes.
So, thanks. Good morning, everyone. Happy to talk here on a quite nice sunny day about complementary resources to biomass. And so my focus here will be solar thermal district heating opportunities. And let me start and jump into that. Okay. Here we go. Oops. So quickly about my background. So I'm one of the founding team of Solid. Solid is a company specialized on industrial, commercial, infrastructure, solar heating applications. I have my personal track of almost 35 years in this area. We have been involved in 300 projects all around the globe. And we have been a trendsetter here in many large applications. On the business side, we have learned it's not only about technology, it's not only about knowing how to do things, but you need to offer the right business models. So we have now 25 years experience as well in owning and operating such systems through power purchase agreements, or in our case, actually, we better should say heat purchase agreements. And besides that, we do a lot of R&D to move on the technology and improve things. Just as a general slide about solar heat, solar hot water, what are the typical applications we are looking on today? You are perfectly aware, I guess, about the residential thing, making hot water, making some space heating. That is where solar heat came from originally. That was the market established 30 years back. But in the last decade, solar heat moved into many other things, and I'm going to focus today only on the district heating. Nevertheless, I want to mention industry. There's a lot of potential if you have involvement in food, beverage, textile, mining, chemical industry. There's a lot of processes up to 100 degrees C where solar heat can provide quite nice solutions. As well in commercial sectors, here we go for providing both heating and air conditioning, cooling in shopping malls, hotels, resorts, hospitals, etc., etc. And that covers actually as well the education health sector. Today, our focus here is district heat, where we see on the right side. Now, district heat has a lot of challenges at the moment, and we have a big conversion in the district heat. The supply structure is in a big change. In the past, that was a fossil-dominated energy sourcing mostly. Today, we need to shift in decarbonized renewables. In the past, it was very typical one central power or heating plant providing the heat. Today, many systems actually have multivalent sources. They need to integrate all types of waste heat, of renewables, of volatile energy, of storages. So there's a big change as well in the technical design and operation of such systems. And through this new generation points, the whole thing has shifted from central supply to multiple feed-in points to a kind of much more decentralized systems. And here solar comes in now nicely. On the picture you see at the left side, originally you had the houses connected to a central heating center, maybe with a biomass boiler or gas oil boiler, heat pump, cogeneration plant. And now there are many elements added on: collector field, short-term storage, waste heat, power to heat, heat pumps, and even seasonal storages. But I'll get to the details of that later on. Solar heat in Europe, in district heating, it's not a new thing anymore. We have, and this is already almost 1.5 years old picture, we have 264 towns and cities which have integrated solar in their heat supply on city level. They're dominating countries highlighted in the dark yellow, which are Sweden, Denmark, Germany, and Austria. But you see as well plants in many other countries, in a small number at the moment, 1, 2, 5, whatever. But you see, this is something where we could all gather a lot of experience and where systems are existing as reference cases in many places. Now, getting back to the old days of that, it started in Austria, and I was personally part of that, roughly 30 years back in rather small systems. It was biomass systems, exactly the one Christian was talking about, who said we don't want to operate our boilers in summer because this low load operation doesn't make any sense. Can you help us out here with solar? So it was systems around 200, 300 kW max power, supplying here in combination with a storage tank, the summer energy. And the target here was avoiding a part load operation, extremely low load operation of the biomass boiler, saving here the work of O&M, saving here inefficient operation mode. That was really the starting point in Europe. In Austria. In Europe, we already had at the time Sweden leading the market, having several big projects, and we were quite lucky getting here a lot of initial know-how out of that. Now, just traveling a little bit to countries, so some systems in Germany, something like 3 to 8 years old, still in the range of a few hundred kW. Actually, most of them here go for ground-mounted, as you can see. Moving now to Lativa, so even the Eastern European countries have been catching up here. and used solar heat as part of their decarbonization strategy. Now, and ending with the biggest system we currently have here in Europe for district heat, that's located here in Denmark, in the town of Silkeborg. It's connecting 21,000 consumers with this central system. This has a capacity of 110 megawatt peak power in summertime, and it provides over the year around 20% of the city's heat demand. So this is a wide scale from the first, let's say, mini project to the biggest one that have been built. And all of them here have the same concept. They take care on the summer supply to avoid fuel and boil operation. So you have in principle the sun heating up the hot water in the solar collectors. You put it in a storage, which is a kind of day storage, and then you supply it to the villages and the cities. Some typical demands and key numbers on that. So you can, a little bit depending on the climate, if you're more southern or northern, you can take care on something like 10 to 15% of the city's heat demand with a concept like that. For producing 1 gigawatt hour of usable heat, you need around 2,000 square meters of collector. Storage is quite moderate in the size, and heat costs are typically around 60 to 85 euro per megawatt. But this is just a small starting point, and solar can do a lot more. So we move now to the next level of development here. If you oversize the solar plant, you have a big challenge. You produce surplus in the summer months, which seems to be difficult to use because you do not have any instantaneous advantage and demand for this energy. So what you can do on that is you can build a huge storage, seasonal heat storage, to shift the solar energy to be used in the autumn, in the shoulder seasons, or even in the winter months. And that concept is not a brand new concept as well. So it started really as well 30 years back in very small systems. I can tell you, I live in a house which uses that concept since 30 years, and it's still nicely working. But putting this in operation in municipal style and change and scale is a different challenge. So that is much more than just a solar system. You have the collectors in an extended area. You probably have a heat pump to extract low-grade heat from the storage as well. You have a huge heat storage, and then you supply it to the city. We do have here nice examples as well. Currently, there are 9 operational systems. We have 4 of them in Denmark, 4 of them in Tibet, 1 of them in Canada. So here you see one of the Danish systems again. You see here a big collector field, which gives roughly 50 megawatt peak power. You see, and that's actually under construction, the storage in the middle of the picture. This is filled with water. It's covered with insulation on the top, and you can store the summer heat here to be used in autumn. As well, there's a short-term storage. You see in the right front of the picture is a heating central. And the system you see here is good enough to provide 50% of the total city's heat demand over the year. What helps here in this specific environment is the district heating systems are quite modern. They operate on low supply and return temperatures, and this makes it a lot easier to interface and get high solar fractions. But 50% sounds nice. There's a lot more still here you can do. And that's the most challenging system I have seen that's sitting in Tibet, in Lankasi, 4,000 meters above sea level. And the challenge there was previously the community was using the dung from the animals to heat their houses. Population increased. People wanted to live on better living standards, wanted to have more temperature in the buildings. So they ran out of natural resources. And in Tibet, you don't have any biomass growing. You have no local coal, oil, gas, whatever. You need to transport everything over a long way, really thousands of kilometers over high mountain passes. And so they decided here to build a solar field of 22,000 square meters, build a solar storage, and supply here to the city. And the puzzling thing is, in the first year of operation, that system could provide 90% of the city's demand. Now, what makes a difference here? you are high above sea level, you have very clear sunshine. The city is blocked from clouds coming in the winter time because you have all around mountains, and so you have very nice solar radiation even in winter time. Now, this is Tibet, this is far away, but I'm currently involved in a study of the European Investment Bank and EBRD for Kosovo, and we studied there 9 cities to move them from decentral electric heating, what is state of the art today, to any type of sustainable heating. And getting a little bit back here to a question that was launched at the end of the previous session, the only way to make here a central decarbonized system is having a central heat system. So it's not only about the costs, it is as well, if you want to decarbonize a whole city and you want to do that on the basis of individual houses, you get lost as you have so many specific cases to solve individually. And the study for Kosovo, which is at the very last stage we did here for the city of Ferisaj, we talk here about a total heat demand of around 100 gigawatts with a peak load of 60 megawatt demand. And we have there lack of biomass. The biomass available in the country is not sufficient to support the district heating. We have investigated sources of waste heat, not available. We have checked out geothermal, well, in a small percentage available here. So we ended up saying we have nothing else but the sun. And so we said, okay, we need to build a solar system with seasonal storage, but having no reasonable backup. We do that with an electric heat pump. We have no boiler in the system. And the only thing the electric heat pump gives to us is it uses, when the seasonal storage is cooled down to below 50 degrees C, there's no value of the remaining heat because we cannot send it out directly to the district heating network. And then the electric heat pump kicks in, it lowers this 50 degrees C to 20 down and gives us usable heat at the other side. So the total system here has around 80% of solar primary energy, and according to our simulation, 18% now on the electricity, and is totally free of any boiler system. And as currently the whole city is heated electric direct, we can cut down the electric demand by a factor of 5 for space heating. I'm personally not a fan of using electricity in space heating. But in this specific situation where we simply reduce here by a factor of 5, I think we can nicely defend this position and take here over this whole direct electric heating by a strong solar system and build a seasonal storage that is big enough to be really used not only in autumn and winter, but as well in the spring months until we have sufficient sun back again. So compared to the first system, when we mitigate the winter supply with seasonal storage and solar, we need to extend the solar system, and it's actually quite linear. So before we had 10 to 15% solar heat in the system. If you want to have 30%, we need to double the solar array. If you want to have 60%, we need to quadruple it. If you want to have 90%, it means a factor of 6. Yes, it's not perfectly linear in real life, but as a first assumption, that helps you. Solar collectors give roughly the same output. Now, on the storage, it's clear we need a multiple of the volume, and this is why we need to change here the way of building that. The costs of heat are higher because for sure the storage doesn't come for free, and the storage has some energy losses as well. We see these big storages have something between 6 and 10% heat losses in the scale we are talking here. And here the real focus is to take care of the pain for district heating, the peak load in winter. And as you can imagine, it's quite easy. If you have a hot water storage, you can draw any peak power out of it. Your only limitation is the size of the pipe. And it's not a boiler or other mechanical equipment giving you limitations. Some pictures of the storages under construction to give you some visual background. So some of them are built like here, you dig a hole, you put some liners in it, this liners captures water, and then you put some insulation in it, and that's it more or less. We do have other projects for big cities where we have old quarries where previously basalt has been extracted. And so if you have availability here of some structures which are already sitting there, fewer former gravel pits, etc., etc., it's very good to take advantage of those, because then the social acceptance and as well the availability for the ground makes everything a lot easier to implement that. And if there's nothing, okay, then we have technical solutions to take care of that. What speaks here for this solution? Now, when we look, and the graph here shows actually 2 dimensions. You see the cost of heat generation at the one side and the emissions on CO2 equivalents on the other axis. And when you look at natural gas boilers, cost of heat today, when I say 70 euro, it's a real moderate price, and probably CO2 taxation, etc., adds here something. I do know from some Austrian district heating companies quite recent, when they make the all income calculation, saying what are my fuel costs, what are my transport costs, what are my carbon costs, what is my boiler efficiency on top of that, they say actually it's a little bit above 100 euro just currently as we talk. If you do heat by electricity, carbon footprint is not nice, but costs are extremely higher. For sure, that's very volatile. If you go to gas-driven cogeneration plants, usually heat is cheaper, but the challenge is these gas cogeneration plants do not have, at least in Central Europe, the operations hour anymore, the need for operating efficiently. And when you run them heat-driven, the cost structure is totally different. Heat pump based on waste heat for sure is lower costs than electric heat. So there you have a reasonable COP. Biomass, well, I don't know to talk. Christian has maybe the better numbers here, but I think we have the similar range here. Waste heat incinerators, industrial waste heat, geothermal, and finally, when you come down to solar, so without seasonal storage and with seasonal storage, when you do here the numbers, you're clearly in a very favorable scaling. Some questions which come up then immediately: land use. Yes, solar requires land use. I'll get you here a picture of one of the Kosovo cities. This is the city size, and the yellow box is what you need for the 80% of solar, which complements with the 20% of biomass. And in bigger cities, we often say, look, this is something like a highway crossing. This is something like a small airport. And it is area to be considered about, but it's not totally unreasonable. When we talk about what is here the efficiency of the use of the ground area, and this is now numbers for Central Europe. And when you go more northern, numbers change. When you go more southern, numbers change as well. But when you compare here, what do you get out with biomass, with wind power, with solar PV, with solar thermal? You have the highest harvest factors by solar thermal compared to all other technologies. And that remains the same for every place we have in Europe. Then people say, okay, we lose this area to technology. It's not a natural area anymore. Well, when you have ground mount collectors, we target not to put there any unremovable parts. The areas are minimal serviced because this is costs. So typically you need to cut the grass twice a week, or you have some sheep in between. And if you keep an open space, our web supervision camera delivers things like that suddenly you find some deer sitting under the collector. And the funny part is, even when you have a strong hailstorm, you see the animals sleeping under these collectors and being happy to have some protection on that. But as well, you find bees, you find butterflies, you find flowers. So it's still a high biological value area when you work like that. Giving you Now, a total different aspect as well. Industry of solar heating is mainly based in Europe, and that's a big contrast to solar electric. So when we go through that installed capacity, and that's really unknown, solar heat has more capacity installed still as you have on the solar PV side. And on the targets, it's still a little bit ahead of that. On the industrial side, I would say 95% of the collectors which are used in Europe and which are used for these installations are European made. On the solar PV side, I think you all know, yes, we have some leftover manufacturers here. The EU recognized they need to do something about creating here our own industry again. But the status is this is mostly imported, while solar heat has an established value base. And the EU grade of domestic supply highly is in favor of the solar thermal. Last point here, technology-wise, it is Europe leading the solar heating world in regards of applications and collector types. You find a bigger market in China, but it's only focused or mostly focused on the residential market. The Americas are very weakly presented here, so Europe can take a worldwide leadership in the transition. Last, smart cities use solar heat. It helps to meet the climate targets as a summary. It increases the energy security, especially if you have seasonal storage and high solar fraction. It keeps the heat price affordable. Once a system is sitting here, you have your known unity costs, you have very low operation costs, you have no exposure to whatever happens on the world market and world policy. And when these systems are built, you create local jobs. It helps to make European value as well. And so it's a lot of good arguments we can use here for promoting solar heating district heating. So that's it from my side. Thanks. I'm here for your questions.
Thanks a lot, Christian. I open the floor for questions. I don't see raised hand. Yes, now I see, I think it's Elder. Yes, Elder, please.
Yes. I see that your technology is mainly based on solar heat collectors. Do you consider also the use of solar concentrators? I mean, on the Mediterranean countries, for example, there is an abundance of sun and heat, and it could be, I don't know if it was more efficient or not, but solar heat concentrators could be potentially more effective than conventional heat collectors. Just a comment asked for that.
So thanks for the question. We have built within our company a test facility where we compare 11 different manufacturers of collectors, including flat plate collectors, including vacuum tubes, and including concentrators. And this facility serves a district heating installation, so it perfectly matches here what we're talking about. And the short learning of that is on the flat plate collectors, we use double glazed collectors. So you have two layers of either glass or glass foil between the absorber and the air to have good efficiency at high temperatures. When I compare that with the vacuum tubes typically cost around double and give 5 to 10% more output. So on economics, they don't have an advantage. And the concentrators, they have a plus if you need high temperatures. They can go up to 150, 160, even 200 degrees C. But that's not what we need for the district heat at the end of the day. The minus is the concentrators only can catch direct sunlight, so they cannot take advantage of diffuse light. And so the basic energy profile the concentrators can use is a lot smaller than what flat plate collectors can absorb. And getting it from the economic side, yes, you can do that. if you compare heat generation costs, the flat plates give you the lower numbers.
Thanks. Other questions? I always have questions, Christian, when you present something. So maybe one point that could be also useful to know also to the other people, because here our project is focusing on community heating. And so it may happen that you have, let's say, non-expert actors which who have, let's say, to manage then the system, maybe for a large number of years. So one question that may arise is how reliable is the technology, for example, in terms of maintenance needs? So I was wondering whether you have any track record on that or indicative values of the maintenance cost and needs. So do we need a person that is watching over the plant daily, or what is your practical experience on the field?
So the oldest industrial, or I better say district heating installation we have in operation is the one in Eibiswald, built in 1997, so 26 years old. And it's actually still performing without any degradation. We did have in these 26 years once a kind of major overwork, which was a 10,000 euro expense for a plant of 1 megawatt. And after 15 years, the customer came back to us saying, guys, we have so many new customers, we need more of that. And we doubled the capacity in 2012, so 11 years back. And this whole thing is very nicely operating. On daily operation, a solar system needs only minimal attention, because the mechanically moving part you have is a pump. And that's it, more or less. For sure, you have electronics, you have some normal heating parts like an expansion tank, which here and there need some replacement. And overall, the solar systems have extremely low O&M costs. They are really too low to have good statistics on that. And we do have 25 years of experience on that. What we use in all these systems is an automatic remote monitoring system. And if something goes out of the normal range, the system gives an automated alarm, and then someone needs to take a look. The major problems we had in this time, maybe to list that, number one is external impact. So let's say the district heating net is closed, no one considers that the solar storage gets too hot. So if the system does not operate efficiently, it's 99% coming of impact out of the solar system. Now on systems we lost, which I know in the company's history, what happened there, we had 3 times the situation that a biomass district heating central burned down, and so the solar system was lost. We had twice the situations that a local plumber filled in water in summer in some O&M procedures and forgot about that, and so the system got frozen in end of October, early November, and that's a big damage to the collectors, but that's a clear mishandling. And I think twice we had the situation that the building where the solar field was located was demolished, so the solar system, which was actually still operational, had to go as well. We do not have even one solar system which had to be dismantled as part of having finished its technical lifetime.
That, of course, is very important also to communicate, because since solar thermal is not as well known as technology as PV or other, more famous technology, let's say, it's very important to know this, real experience. And what you were mentioning, I think it's very interesting, the fact that also I saw many times happening in Denmark, this district heating cooperatives had a try, let's say, with solar thermal, so they maybe installed some thousands of square meter of collectors, and then after maybe 5 years of very good operation, they decided, okay, we have more space, the technology proved to be very effective, and then we want to double the capacity, for example, and add the storage or whatever. This is a situation which happened really a lot of times, so we have really to tell these stories. I think, Eldar, you had something to add?
Yes.
Please.
It's also another short question. It's about the nature of the heat pit. The material is used to storage it is the hot water, the liquid itself, or could be used also solid materials as heat inertia mass.
Mm-hmm. State of the art still is the hot water, because it is you need a massive amount of this material. So on the big systems we discussed today, we talk on storages of 100,000 to 2 million cubic meter. So that's really an enormous volume. And if you put in water, and this water is not treated, this water is a little bit softened to avoid that limestone hurts the heat exchanger. And other than that, the water stays 100% natural. When you think 50 years ahead, and at whatever point of time you need to empty your storage again, no one wants to have 2 million cubic meter of dangerous material or something like that. Now, when you move to any type of mineral as a storage, and that has been often looked into, the challenge is always how to have a proper heat transfer, both in for the heat and out again at the end of the day. And what speaks for water as well is water has a very high heat capacity per volume in the temperature range from 40 to 100 degrees C, which is the relevant one for district heating. There's been R&D on phase-changing materials. There has been tons of other things tried out around, and this R&D is ongoing, but nothing of that at the moment is even close to industrial commercial application.
Thanks a lot. Maybe one question I had was about of course, the problem of these, let's say, finding suitable areas, which you were mentioning. I was wondering whether there is also competition with completely different technologies like PV. We know that they provide different forms of energy, but in Italy, for example, when you talk to utilities, especially I would say large ones, then for them the area is an area. So sometimes they deal with both heat and electricity, and so they see really solar thermal as a second choice from this point of view. Are you experiencing the same or something similar in Austria, for example?
That's a true challenge. The solar PV is much better known and is today a commodity in many places. So people simply do not consider solar heat as an alternative. And here we have a small disadvantage in the solar heat. We need to be close to the district heating network. So if the system is big enough, yes, we can build a pipeline of 2 or 3 or even 5 kilometers, transport the heat from the solar field to the city. But on electricity, we do have an established European grid, and you have much more interfacing points. And we discussed with politics already giving priority to solar heat in the environment of cities where you have district heat, which totally would make sense for me in the point of energy planning. But this is still a young topic to be discussed. And we sometimes have the situations that the best places for solar thermal are already dedicated to solar PV or even occupied by solar PV. And that's something which is a true challenge.
Yeah, definitely. One last question from Clemence. What about this ongoing study you're doing for the European Investment Bank? Is this somehow accessible at the moment, or will it be in the future, or is it something confidential?
This specific study is at the moment still confidential. I guess it will be released, but I can encourage you. There's a lot of studies already done for cities exactly with this concept, which are public, which you find studies on solarworld.org with the links, and several of them are public. And I think it's a great point that the development banks and big investments bank have recognized that in the heating sector, solar heat is a major opportunity for the transition. And many of those studies have been supported by those development banks. and there's a clear track towards implementation. So on some of the projects, it's already tenders out for detailed engineering, and I think you can expect maybe 25, maybe 26. There will be some big projects coming online and into construction. So we will move from these 9 systems we know today, which are more on the side of smaller cities. It will change totally the picture. That will go to cities of 50,000, of 100,000, of 300,000 inhabitants, and form a whole new pattern. And you know, when technology develops like that, we will be able of cutting costs even more and make things more competitive. So I see a really optimistic outlook on that. The point is, we need to start those ideas early, because energy projects in the big scale take some time to develop. It's nothing happening from one day to the next one. I'm involved in projects which are now 8 years at the table, and they get better and better. But still, when you say nothing has happened at the ground at the end of the day, I'm optimistic it will be in the next 1 or 2 years. But I want to encourage you actively get things starting, take action today for a better tomorrow.
Thanks. And I just copied in the chat the source of information you were mentioning. So this is a specific section of Solar Heat for Cities within the solarthermalworld.org website. And I would add also another link, which I think is very interesting, is the International Energy Agency District Heating and Cooling Program, and in particular the Annex TS5, where they did also a collection of technological fact sheets. So this is not only about solar thermal, but also about heat pumps and about biomass and about geothermal. So if you have any doubt, let's say, regarding, for example, the major figures of production, yield, costs, and so on of the different technologies, you can have a look there. Okay, thanks a lot again, Christian. Before the closing remarks and some instruction, let's say, I will give the floor to Marta for a very important point. Marta, please.
Thank you, Ricardo, and thank you to the 2 amazing speakers. So very quickly, I wanted to remind you to fill in the survey, the satisfaction survey. So for all the participants, I will drop the link in the chat, and you have it. So please maybe fill it in as soon as possible, so that by the end of the day, we can include the results. Yeah, thank you. Ricardo, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Marta. Okay, so it really needs maybe a couple of minutes to fill it in, so don't worry. Once again, we'll make the material, which means recording and slides, available to the participants and also to the external public on the ConnectHeat toolbox, so on the project website. Our next session, which is non-financial cost-benefit analysis, so all the, let's say, impacts on the territory that can have the heating communities. This will be on 15 November 2023, if I'm not wrong, again from 9 to 12. While the second part of this technological framework session, which will focus just on heat pumps, is set for either 30 of November or 21st of December. So we'll confirm the date as soon as possible. Actually, we don't need a short break because the session is ending. So it will be a short or a long break. It depends on you, basically. I'm just wondering whether I forgot something regarding the panel instruction. Of course, I want to thank once again the 2 speakers. Thanks also for keeping the time. It was really very appreciated. And also to you, the participants. Marta, Clemens, did I forget something? Or also for the organizational points?
No, you said everything.
Okay. So thanks again. So today it was a shorter session, but we will recover the missing part, let's say, in an additional meeting. Thanks again, and yeah, I wish you all, of course, sorry once again, if you if some more questions come to your mind please, of course, go back to us or to Fedarene, and then we will try also to check with the speakers if there are, for example, other sources of information. Thanks again, everybody, and I wish you a nice day.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you
Ciao.
very much.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao.
Ciao.
Teraz to będzie powinien być dzień.